Okay, you ready? So first and foremost, welcome. We have amazing speakers here in the house. We have the Planet Prize jury members here. You've done a fantastic job in selecting our beautiful national champions, the brilliant minds behind the scientific solutions for planetary health. And also I would like to thank the Villars Institute for once again hosting us in this most beautiful nature location up in the Swiss mountains. I hope you all agree it's a beautiful setting here. Thank you. Indeed, the motto, as Jean-Claude just said, there is no place to hide. Today when you switch on the TV, it's just a barrage of conflict that confronts you and you think, can this get any worse? There are anti-science policies out there, mistrust in science. How can this be? For the last 100 years or so, governments and companies have invested in science, and it got us here to this level. We live healthier lives, we live more prosperous lives in the last 50, 100 years or so than in our 200,000 years of existence. And that is because of science. So today, as a few are already maybe stepping out in supporting science, more of us have to step in and just keep on going, stay course, as Johan said as well. But this is an important issue. We have to solve the planetary health crisis, because if we don't, this will only be the beginning. So I did want to give you as well a little bit of a background in what motivates us. Why did we start Frontiers? What are the motives? Why did we do the Planet Prize? And why are we so obsessed today, as we were years ago, to make sure that science really permeates all aspects of society? So this is us, Henry and myself. We're two neuroscientists, and about 18 years ago, we launched Frontiers. It was back in the day just Frontiers in Neuroscience, launched here at a big conference, neuroscience conference. Now, Henry is a biophysicist. So his entire life, he has been dedicated to study neurons, how they connect to each other in the brain, how they transmit information, how they store information. And for the last 20 years or so, it became his life's obsession to bring all of this together, the thousands of experiments in his lab, in one big reconstruction of the brain on a supercomputer in order to be able to simulate the brain, understand it better, and as well provide the basis for faster treatment development for brain disorders. Now, this promise came true just last year. It was a government-funded project with over 300 million francs invested into it, a huge international collaboration between 1,000 neuroscientists and computer scientists who collaborated on it, and they delivered on this promise. They simulated, they reconstructed the brain. It's a rat brain, but it's the same principles as any other brain out there. And what we did, this project came to an end. What we did is we launched the Open Brain Institute, where we basically open sourced the entire digital source code behind building this brain, together with all of the neuroscience data, which was from his lab, but as well sucking it up from the entire neuroscience community. And for that, by the way, you need open access to the data and to the articles. It isn't such an easy feast. And all of this is now open sourced, and anybody now can come in onto this platform and start building and simulating brains. And we hope that with this, we will accelerate across the globe our understanding of the brain. I am a little bit more humble. I'm a biopsychologist. I'm interested, or was during my PhD studies, how emotions and memories are formed in the brain. And then later I became inspired by our stepson, my stepson Kai, whom you can see here in the middle of this picture holding this little rat. He's actually autistic. So we created a rat model for autism to understand how autistic brains work. So when I published my first paper at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, down the road here, an amazing institute, one of the richest in the world as well, I was actually quite surprised that I could not access or download my own paper. And I realized, because we did not have the subscription, it's a technology university, and we did not have the subscription to this particular life science journal. And I kind of at that moment understood that if I can't download my own paper easily, how can people, researchers at other universities, maybe less rich university, be able to download it? Or parents of autistic children? And indeed, they cannot. Still today, there is not a single university out there, whether it's the EPFL or Harvard, who has access to all of the scientific journals out there. Not one. Doctors who are treating you, whether it's for autism or cancer, don't have access to the latest treatment studies. And companies are entirely blind, maybe not entirely, but severely impaired, vision impaired, towards what is happening in labs right now, today. And that is crazy, because we today live in a knowledge economy. Literally every single aspect of our lives today is infused, heavily infused by science and disseminated through our orders of the internet into every corner of the world. It is accelerating. It's the blood that runs through our veins and is creating prosperity and health for humanity across the planet. And to make this science openly accessible is incredibly important. I'm going to give you 2 examples of that. So this is an older one. You remember this? This is the Human Genome Project. And at first, people as well tried to limit access, patent genes, lock them away behind subscription paywalls. But then luckily for all of us, it was decided to make the human genome an open resource for the entire world. And the impact of this has actually been enormous. There has been huge economic impact of this. For every dollar invested into the Human Genome Project, $145 were made in return. And that triggered the entire biotech industry, which today is worth $1.5 trillion every year. But it's not just the economic impact, which is great, obviously. It is as well the intellectual and the health impact of it. It created the first gene editing therapies for cancer. It gave us the mRNA vaccines just 5 years ago at an amazing speed, which got us out of the public health crisis that COVID was. Within just 1 year, we had the vaccines, thanks to the open sourcing of the Human Genome Project 20 years ago. And COVID in itself is another great example of what it means to make science openly accessible. So when it hit, Chinese scientists sequenced the genetic code of the coronavirus and put it into those gene data banks. And that immediately triggered the race for the vaccine. But not only this, the articles around the coronavirus were made openly accessible at that time. It became just blatantly clear that if we want doctors and scientists to give us treatments, vaccines fast, we have to give them access to all of the science. And they did. And that is the reason why we got treatments and vaccines at a pace never ever seen before in human history. 1 year, the fastest vaccine and treatment development in human history. But what we had achieved for COVID within just a year is still not achieved for other respiratory diseases, cardiovascular, cancer. These are the biggest killers of our time, and they kill millions of people every year. And just a fraction of the science is made openly accessible. Just makes no sense. And then, of course, there's the biggest crisis that we are all facing. It's the planetary health crisis. 6 of the 9 planetary boundaries are already crossed. We're approaching the 1.5 degrees Celsius rapidly, crossing that threshold as well. And there really is, right now, no time to waste. Everybody has to step in and do something. Time literally is up. As you all know, this is the biggest challenge. We have just 1 generation, 30 years to transition completely to carbon neutral, clean economies. It's you, the young people in this room, that will have to solve this crisis with our help, because every single one of us needs to take responsibility for this. So to address this, we don't need less science, we don't need doubt in science. What we need is more science. We need more funding into science, and we need to make this science openly accessible, because we have to accelerate all the innovation, all the technologies for this transition towards clean economies. So to us, opening up science 18 years ago was a big mission, and I believe today it is ever more so important, because we are not quite there yet. Yes, 50% of the science overall in medical fields, a bit more than others, is open, but in the planetary health, it is not. So we have to keep on going step by step, stay course on this, and make it all open, so that we can all live healthy lives, but within the boundaries of the healthy planet. Now, in Frontiers, when we launched in the neuroscience community. Today, it's about nearly 2,000 academic communities that we are serving with our open access journals. A lot of these journals, for years now, have been very closely aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, because we need to prioritize, in particularly, the science that is driving prosperity within planetary health. Every article that passes through follows the same quality at scale, or scientific excellence at scale formula. It's a formula that we have developed for the journals. We recruit only the best researchers to our editorial boards. We employ large-scale research integrity teams that quality control the articles, but as well with the help of technology and artificial intelligence that we have been deploying, which can do quality control at a scale that would not be possible by human eye alone. So when it comes to editorial boards, we recruit only the very best researchers from all the top universities, and there's close to 300,000 reviewers and editors on those editorial boards. I was also particularly happy to see people such as Carlos Duarte, who has been nominated as one of the national champions by Johann's Planet Prize jury. He's as well one of the chief editors of Frontiers in Marine Science, one of the largest and most cited journals in marine science in the world. And I've been actually quite pleased to see how the jury selected a lot of people that we as well had put onto the editorial boards, and that is completely independent of each other. So that actually made me very happy to see that. But as I said, every aspect that we do is as well heavily technology infused, whether it's submission, peer review, dissemination of the articles, the impact metrics behind it. Frontiers is born digital. And that's why for years as well, we have been building artificial intelligence to do quality control really at scale. So we call it, lovingly, I would say, IRA, an artificial intelligence review assistant. She can control over 50 quality checks, such as image manipulation, but as well detect those infamous paper fabrications, the infamous paper mills as we see them. And she flags these types of issues. She doesn't take decisions on her own, but she flags these issues to our research integrity team, the largest in the publishing industry, one of the most experts and empowered by all of this technology. I like to call them the forensic unit, because they are like the detectives that have to find quality issues, or as well more serious fraud issues. This formula works. It works at scale with measurable outcomes. There's more than 600,000 articles published, a huge amount of those sustainability science, planetary health science. They are having big impact across the world, and this is quite amazing. 4 billion views and downloads, more than 1 billion this year alone. And literally, wherever people have access to the internet, they're hungry for science. The AI, the ChatGPTs of this world are hungry for science as well. They're as well ingesting your science, which is really amazing to see. But while this shows the hunger for science, we all know that scientific careers are built on citation rates. So here as well, I'm very proud that Frontiers is amongst the most cited publishers out there in the world. I'm proud because most of the other publishers on this leaderboard took had a century to build trust and reputation within the scientific communities. And we, as a community, an open science, open access community, emerged into this within no time and are maintaining ourselves at these top positions. But you can also just simply ask people about what they think about quality. And we ask thousands of people every single month what they think about the quality of articles, editorial boards, and peer review. And over 94% of them think that the quality is either good or excellent. And that's improving year on year. And that, again, is not an accident. It's not a coincidence. It's a result of the formula that we are applying. For us, not just for us at Frontiers, but for us all as a scientific community, the next frontier really should be data. And that data needs to be open, of course. Because that is the next frontier. As you all know, articles are actually just the tip of the iceberg. They describe the huge amounts of data that you are all collecting. And that is the real treasure. And that has the power to accelerate innovations and solutions, particularly for planetary health, on a massive scale. I want to see here some hands up from our national champions and the jury members. How many of you are sharing your data on data management platforms? I see one hand. Ooh, I see a couple of more hands. That's wonderful. Good. That's great, because you're pioneers in this. The vast majority of the data still today sits on the shelf. It's hidden on computers, on servers, and never sees the light of day. And this we need to change, particularly in the planetary health, the planetary boundary community. So this is the reason, and you'll hear more about it tomorrow, why we launched the Fair Square data management platform that makes data easily findable and accessible, but importantly, it makes it AI ready. Not just for humans, but as well for machines, because that is where the next acceleration is happening on a massive scale. On this platform, you can simply drag and drop your data, and it immediately starts creating figures. It's an AI platform or AI technology that looks very easy when I demo it here. It actually is based on the 20 years of brain simulation technology that Henry and Sean have been building over the last 20 years by bringing in all of the neuroscience data, and it's now made available to any type of scientific data. It also automatically creates a data article. Obviously, everything can be curated or is curated by humans, but there is a lot of stuff that is happening already driven through artificial intelligence. And this makes your data not just findable and accessible, fair, squared as we call it, but it also gives you recognition by being able to cite this data. So what we're doing now is to make this entire platform available to the planetary health community, to the Planet Prize community as well, free of charge, obviously, because we want to be driving the next acceleration towards those frontiers of solving the planetary health crisis together at a much faster pace. But there is also a big responsibility towards wider society, and we can't hide away from this. People have to know about science, they have to love science, and we have to cherish this feeling towards science. So one of the projects that we have had for a very, very long time already is the Frontiers for Young Minds. And that's a science journal for children where very complicated scientific concepts are being explained to children. But they're not just passive consumers of the science, they're actually actively involved in the publishing process. They are the reviewers of the science. And they're not reviewing any type of science or scientists. They actually work with Nobel Prize winners. We have a very popular Nobel Prize collection out there. Here, for example, you see Jennifer Doudna being reviewed by a group of children on explaining gene editing and the CRISPR-Cas9 revolution to kids. By the way, if you look at some of the names, you will see that they're Palestinian children, they're Israeli children on the same article reviewing this. It's the love for science that can unite, and it knows no boundaries. And it gave me a lot of pleasure to see that on this article as well. But this is a much beloved project. It's popular in the press. It's receiving awards, and on social media it goes, dare I say, viral with over 1 billion impressions. So it's a great project. But what I'm also very pleased about to see is that our Planet Prize champions are as well explaining your innovations and your technologies to children and being reviewed by children as well. So that's the Planet Prize collection, and I hope to see as well the new champions in this collection as well. But we're also bringing closer, we have to build the bridge as well to the business communities and to the latest technologies that are happening, the latest innovations. And we're explaining this to children as well with our World Economic Forum collection. It's actually the top 10 emerging technologies report that we have translated into kids' language. And it was a lot of fun as well. And we're doing this because we are a partner at the World Economic Forum at the center of the fourth industrial revolution. And amongst the several things that we're doing there is to co-publish the top 10 emerging technologies report, which is one of the widest read technology reports of the WEF. And we're involving our communities of experts on the editorial boards to actively participate in this report. What I'm happy to tell you as well is that there is a next technology report coming out, and that is for planetary health. So this will be a report with very concrete technologies and solutions that can be implemented today towards driving planetary health and this life within the boundaries of a healthy planet. This will be edited or under the editorial guidance of Johan, together with Martin Siegert, who as well is a very eminent climate earth scientist. He's been as well the chief editor of Frontiers in Environmental Science for many years already. So we will be seeking the contribution as well of the Planet Prize community into this, and this will be launched at the COP30 this year, full stop. But what we're also now bringing or launching, the next frontier really is to get one step closer towards the policymakers, towards industries, stakeholders, and businesses, and to bring science closer to those communities. So at the WEF, at the next annual meeting, we will be launching the Science House, where we once again be bringing together experts, both from the Planet Prize communities, but as well other science areas, to champion science, advocate for making it all open, because we all are on the same track. We want to achieve global prosperity, but it has to be done within a safe operating space of the planet. So this actually then brings me already to the end and to the Planet Prize, because there's also no hiding away or shying away from putting some real money behind those solutions that drive planetary health. And we haven't been hiding away from that. We've actually now invested, I think, close to $12 million into this. Most of it as prize money, as funding money for those amazing solutions that you, the champions, bring to the world. Some of it as well goes into to support the national academies for the work that they do to select you. And a little fraction of it as well goes into administering the Planet Prize. Now, why are we doing this? Because you can't hide away from your own children. You know, I have them, you have them, I actually already have grandchildren, and I certainly do not want to be in a position when one day they ask me, what have you done to prevent this from happening? I think that we all have a responsibility in contributing, whether we are a neuroscientist or a climate scientist or grandma or grandpap from around the corner. We all have to do our share. Our tipping point actually came, I told this story already a couple of times, but it's the story. Our daughter actually gave us this book, Johann's book, as a Christmas present 4 years ago. So while we were on Christmas break, we read it, and we loved it. It is a very concrete, quantitative framework that Johann and his team have put together that tells us what are the safe boundaries, how far can we move. Very quantitatively, very concrete. So when we read it, we decided, well, let's support this. So we came back from the mountain and immediately called Johann. Henry had a talk with him, and he was very open to it. And within just a couple of days, it was done. The Planet Prize was created. Within 3 months, Fred and Jean-Claude took it on them and started running. And look at what we've created within just 3 years. It really is amazing. And yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of all of you in participating and giving your best to this. What we want to achieve with this prize is to recognize the beautiful minds, you, the scientists, for your breakthrough solutions for planetary health. And yes, we do want to ignite a competition amongst universities, amongst countries, to be brave and to bring forward their very best talent, those beautiful minds that they're investing money in and that are doing so much to get us closer towards planetary health. Over 600 universities have already participated in more than 60 countries. And they have been evaluated by the jury of 100, put together by Johann, the most amazing climate, earth scientists, sustainability scientists, planetary health scientists that we have today on the planet. And often people ask, why 100? Why not 10? Because you actually do need a big group of people. If 100 of the most eminent experts agree that these are the breakthrough solutions of this year, these are the technologies or the breakthrough science that we all need to be reading and listening to, then we believe with this type of consensus, we can remove all the chit-chat and maybe bring it one step closer and pushing it over the fence, out of the lab, into the policy space, or maybe as well into the industry space, where it can be then grabbed and a real technology can be built out of it. It can be scaled up. And I'm happy to see, like it's baby steps, but I'm happy to see that this is starting to happen. So your work, the national champions' work, has already been cited more than 300 times in amazing policy outlets there. We've got the UNESCO up here, the World Bank, and so forth. So it's starting to work. And I want to give you one concrete example. This is Jason Rohr from the US. He won the international prize last year, together with a large international team, actually. And they're doing research in Africa, in Senegal. And they discovered if you remove algae from the rivers, that you actually then remove the food source for a snail. And the snail carries a parasite that actually kills a lot of people who are living around these rivers and doing stuff in the water, including drinking it. So if they remove the algae, mortality actually drops drastically. But not just that. If you dry up this algae, these water plants, you can actually feed it as well to livestock, to cows. And people around the rivers can make a living out of that. So it's a very simple solution that's saving nearly 50,000 lives now per year, and that allows people to make a living from this solution. And I'm very happy that now as well, the Senegal government is taking this up as a nationwide policy to be implemented across the country. And that is the impact that we want to be accelerating. That's why we're here today. Thank you. But this applause is really for those champions. You are here today, and this is the cohort of 19 national champions in this third year's edition. And you're here because you have been selected by your universities, hundreds of them across 60 different countries. The jury of 100 has judged that your science is the breakthrough science of this year. And you can already be proud of yourselves to be sitting here having been selected by so many people. To me, you deserve every recognition that there is on this planet. You are the heroes. You may be not wearing a cape, maybe a lab coat, that's cape enough, but you're real heroes because you're bringing a message of hope to the entire world that we can and that we will solve this planetary health crisis. So this is an applause really for our national champions. Bravo, and we're here to celebrate you. Thank you. Let the show begin.